A big welcome to you today. I am AITALEGBE, and as we had advertised much earlier on, today is a special day because I was able to bring Eda back. Who am I talking about? Eda was with me a couple of weeks ago, and we're talking about elderly care, a very, very important subject, a very, very important topic. Now, part two has to do more with looking at the side of the elderly, and also considering what the best quality of care would be when it comes to the elderly. You know, not to drag on too much about it, I would just bring her back in immediately so that we start talking and get everything going as we expect today. So here she is. How are you doing, Eda?
Hello, Ehi. How you doing?
Hello. First of all, I'd like to say a big thank you. I know you're very, very busy, and I have been chasing you all over the whole place to make sure that I find time for this. And you have been able to find time for it because you know how important it is as an issue. You know how important it is for those who are concerned. And we're talking about the elderly in our society, not just in Nigeria, but across Africa and, of course, across the world. So thank you for making time for us today.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, so welcome. Before anything at all, maybe you want to give us a recap of who you are, what your background is, especially for those who did not follow part one. So, who is Eda in the field of social work and elderly care? How did you come about this?
Okay. Like I said some few weeks back, I am Eda AITALEGBE. Initially, I studied accounting from the University
Oh,
of
wow.
Benin.
Yeah.
And I worked with that in AIT for over 14 years, where I worked with Ehi in Akimio. All right.
Yeah.
Somewhere along the line, I wanted a career change. I wanted something in the healthcare. And so I relocated to the UK and I studied public health from the Canterbury Christchurch University, Kent. While studying in the UK, I was opportune to work in a nursing home as a healthcare assistant, where we were providing care and support for the elderly. When I finished in 2015 and had to relocate back to Nigeria, I was sure that was what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. So coming back to Nigeria in 2015, I had the opportunity to manage the biggest nursing facility in Nigeria, the Rock Garden Homes for the Elderly, somewhere in Ikorodu, Lagos State, Nigeria. I was there for 4 years, and I was sure I wanted to start up mine when I turned 50. So when I turned 50 3 years ago, I decided it was time to move on. And where we are today, I have my own agency, MOTHINGHAM Support Workers.
Okay. That is all it is in a nutshell. Now we're going to go deeper on in the subject, and for those who want to get in touch with Eda directly, you can see the scroll just under the photograph, under her frame right there. Her phone number is there, so you can get in touch with her directly. We're talking about this particular number being in is it WhatsApp? It's how you can get in touch with her on WhatsApp. Make consultations, ask more questions if you don't understand a lot of things about, you know, dealing with the elderly, because it's a subject that is not very well dug into when it comes to our different societies. So yes, if you want to get in touch with Eda as the program continues, that is one way to do. And you can also, of course, get in touch with us while the show goes on. Through the commentary. You can make comments from wherever you're watching this right now. So let's just dig into it right now. So the burden of elderly care in Africa. Whose responsibility is it to take care of the elderly in our own little communities, Eda?
The answer is every one of us.
Okay.
Like I always preach, our parents have taken care of us whilst we were young. The reverse is the case now, where we need to now take care of them because they have now become babies. So it is the
More or less,
responsibility
yeah.
of every one of us. However, some of us are more professional than others. So that's why I would now narrow it down to the fact that let the professionals provide the care and support that your parents would need,
Mm,
especially if you don't have the social support. Social
mm,
support in the sense that you don't have a family member who has volunteered passionately to stay in the house and care for your parents. So the
mm.
best way is to let the professionals do the job.
Okay. And who are what? How would you describe a professional in
So
your
the
own terms?
professionals will be people, the professionals will be people who are mainly in the health care providing services,
Mm,
i.e., the nursing home, i.e., the respite homes, i.e., the agencies like the one I am running. So the
mm,
agencies, for example, would provide care and support for you in the comfort of the house of your parents. So we bring in the care into your home, especially
mm.
if you are of the opinion that you don't want to bring your parents to the nursing home.
Okay.
However, if you decide you want to bring them to the nursing home where they will have more advantage in the sense that they are in the nursing home with their peers, they
Yeah.
have opportunity for a doctor to see them every week. The nurses are on site, the carers are on site. So they
Mm,
need that first-hand care in a nursing home. However,
yeah.
they can also get that in the comfort of their homes. But if,
Mm,
for example, they need hospital care, then we need to move them from the home into a hospital.
okay. Some well, from based on the last show that we had, the last program that we had, I got a few questions,
Mhm.
and I did a bit more research to get some more information. Now, is there any particular difficulty when it comes to what the elderly person, the senior citizen, what they want, and how do you bridge that little confusion or misinformation or interest in what their future will be between what the elderly person wants? Do you have to deal with that and what the family member would want? They want a lot of people were asking about that. How do you come into that? Do you attend to the elderly person's desires the most, or would you attend to the family member's desire the most
So we have
or
what we
request?
call a person-centered care, like I said a
Yeah.
few weeks ago. So the
Mm,
person-centered care is the care I am providing for client A is
mm,
absolutely different from what I will be, you know,
yeah.
supporting client B with. So we do the
Mm,
person-centered care. So
yeah.
initially, before we come into the home to provide the care, there is an
Mm,
assessment that we do where we involve the children, the
mm,
clients themselves, if they have capacity,
yeah.
the other health professionals, i.e., the medical doctor, the mental health doctor, the social worker, we come together to provide their care plan. We call it a care
Mm,
plan. So the
okay.
care plan is what will help us to provide that person-centered care for the client. And yes,
Mm,
if the client says, "This is what I want," this is what she gets.
okay. Interesting. So let's dig in a little deeper. Okay. And this has to do with the issue of one, neglect, two, abuse. Do you think in your own from your own professional perspective and opinion, do you think that there is a rise in is it elderly abuse and neglect nowadays? And why would that be the case?
So let's talk about the neglect first.
Okay.
Um, so we don't believe that there is a neglect, okay?
Okay. Mm,
Because where people feel that there is a neglect is if, for example, the children, the direct children, they
yeah.
have to go to work, they have to
Mm,
run their own businesses, and then it boils down to the fact that now who stays with grandma at home, or what happens to grandma, especially if grandma lives by herself. And that's where we come in
yeah.
to say that if for genuine reasons grandma has to live by herself and you don't want her to
Mm,
go into a nursing home, then let a carer come in and live with her
mm,
so that she has someone at least for companionship. She has
yeah.
someone to make sure she eats. She has
Mm,
someone to run around for her personal care and then
yeah.
medication prompting. All right.
Mm,
Yes, we have abuse. We have abuse from the carer to the client, and we also
Okay.
have abuse from the client to the carer. So we have to
Okay.
bridge that gap. Okay.
Yeah.
And there are different forms of abuse. We have
Mm,
it starts from physical abuse,
mm,
mental abuse, psychological abuse, financial abuse,
mm.
sexual abuse. It goes on and on. So we
Yeah.
make sure that we have zero tolerance for
Mm,
all forms of abuse. And so we
mm,
make sure the carers are trained, especially on
mm.
abuse, they are trained. And then
Yeah.
when they go into the clients, some families would suggest that I want to put a camera in my house
Mm,
without the
mm.
knowledge of the carer, which is
Okay.
fine, which is what we always tell them, that's fine.
Mm,
And that way they are able to, connect that camera to their phones, and they are able to check once in a while to see what's
mm,
going on in the house.
mm,
Yeah.
mm. How do you protect yourself and your workers or colleagues from being victims of such, situations besides just
Yes,
training?
so for the client, from the client, it's herself
Mm,
or himself to the
yeah.
carer is able sometimes to avoid, because if, for example, you know the history of the
Yeah.
client, and you
Mm,
know that the client can be, physically aggressive when they are
yeah.
agitated. There
Mm,
are there are trainings we make them go through to get themselves prepared for
mm.
stuff like that. But
Okay.
sometimes, even this abuse we are talking about is not necessarily from the client. Sometimes it's actually from the client's family to
Oh
the
dear.
carers.
Mm. So
Right.
do you have you as a professional in this, have you had that experience yourself? There was I'll tell you why. There was a video that has been circulating maybe a couple of years ago where there was an African caregiver, you know, working with
Caregivers.
yeah, and one African caregiver working with an elderly woman, and the lady was beating on the African caregiver, slapping and all those kind of things. And on one hand, you would think that she's a racist. On the other hand, I would think that maybe there's something about working with the elderly that's a bit different from working with a regular everyday person. What is that
Mm.
difference? Maybe you want to clarify out, because
So,
somehow we still don't understand it all. Yeah, go ahead.
yes, sometimes, like you said, racism can play a major role there.
Mm,
Sometimes some of these white parents don't really want people of colored uh, backgrounds to care for
mm,
them in the comfort of their homes. So
yeah,
you see them once in a while throw tantrums, get out of my house, I spit on
yeah,
you, I don't want you in my house, and all that.
yeah.
I saw that video and I was very glad that Kara was very calm and just kept telling
Mm,
her, stop it, don't do that,
mm,
you
mm,
know. Then at times when you continue like that in that way with an elderly person, with time they get used to you. You find out
mm.
that in some instance they become very loving eventually.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
Mm,
So sometimes some carers at times prompt the clients to be that way to them. You
okay.
must try as much as possible to gain the trust of your clients. You have to go
Yes.
that extra mile. Talk
Mm,
to the children, ask them, what do you think mom likes? Ask the client herself, what is it you
mm,
want me to do for you? Just try as much as possible to gain her trust. The moment
mm.
she gains your trust as the carer, oh my God,
Yeah.
it
Mm,
gets to a point that that bond will become so strong that
mm,
if the carer doesn't, I mean, if the client doesn't see that particular carer, she is
yeah.
not comfortable. Yeah.
Mm.
So the
Does
bottom line is try as much as possible to win their trust.
does Mothingham offer any kind of, besides just the professionals? The professionals can't be there all the time. Does
Mm.
Mothingham offer any kind of training, any kind of skill set to regular family members? Do you go
Okay. So
beyond? Yeah.
sometimes, yes, sometimes we go that extra mile to speak to the families as well, to try
How
to
to deal
make
with? Yeah.
sure we help the carer
Mm,
to settle in, seamlessly. You
okay.
understand? Yeah, sometimes you will find the family coming in between to say, Mom, I'm not going to be here with you 24/7. Ada
Yeah.
is here to help. She's nice. She's good. Just try,
Mm,
so they come in as well to help speak to their mom or their dad.
mm,
And as time goes on, the relationship becomes stronger.
Mm. No, I was referring mostly to family members themselves, because it is. I mean, you're a professional. You've gone through all of this. You've studied this. Basically, you know the theoretical background behind it. With
Mhm.
elderly people, they often tend to lose that filter. So the way they often speak, sometimes the way they respond to certain things is a bit different. Would Mothingham offer, or does Mothingham offer some kind of a guide? Because as a professional, there are things that you know that the typical family member does not know. There are some skill sets that you have as a professional that the typical family member does not have. Do you offer guidelines and training, especially for family members, on how to deal with the elderly when you are not around, for instance?
Absolutely. Like I said
How
earlier,
to?
I said
Mm,
sometimes we have to come into their environment to
mm,
also let the family know how to handle their mom.
yeah,
Sometimes you find family telling you, "Oh, mom can be so difficult. Oh, she
yeah,
can be this, she can be that." There's a way you need
mm,
to explain to them that you expect to see some of these things like this. She's aging,
mm,
and sometimes, maybe when they were more stronger, there were people who could do things for themselves. They didn't need anybody's help.
mm,
Now look at that change all of a sudden. You, of course,
mm,
there's this that tendency that they might not want to accept. So you need to
mm,
also explain to them, try to educate them, to let them know that this is a progressive illness mom is having.
yeah,
So you're going
mm,
to get more of this. So the
okay,
bottom line is to get yourself prepared for what is to come. Because, for example, if we are working with a client who has dementia, dementia is a seven-stage illness. It's a
yeah,
progressive illness. Okay,
mm,
so you're going to start with an early stage dementia into an advanced stage dementia. So at
mm,
times you will get to a stage where mom does not even recognize you as her child,
yeah,
and she begins to see you as a stranger. How do you cope?
mm.
Even the
That's
family, the
difficult to
child, the
accept.
director,
Yes.
it's
Mm,
very difficult, it's very traumatic, and like
mm,
sometimes you find children weeping, oh my god, mom doesn't recognize me anymore, what's going
yeah.
on with her? So you
Mm,
will have to educate them and get them prepared for what is to come.
mm. Talking about preparedness, yeah.
Yeah.
How does one prepare for old age? What would you
I know I
offer
mentioned
as a?
something like that. I wanted to use you and I as an example, but I
Oh
think
dear.
you were in
Oh dear.
denial. You were in denial.
I am still in denial. Nothing will change. I'm always in
We are
denial.
aging. We are aging gracefully. We are aging gracefully,
Speak
and
for yourself.
when I do when I do some of my trainings, I always
Yeah.
prepare my carers that some of us are going to come down with some of these illnesses that we are
Yeah.
seeing firsthand for
Mm,
the elderly. Some of us are
okay.
going to age so well that nothing is going to happen, while some
Yeah.
of us are going to come down with stroke, some can come down with
Mm,
dementia, some can come down with mental health. How do you
yeah.
get prepared for it? So you need to, I mean, read a lot, research a lot, find out the kind
Mm,
of things at what age you need to stop doing and some of the things you need to be doing at this point.
yeah.
All right.
Mm,
Slow down on the sugar intake, slow down on the
okay.
salt intake, do more exercises, make sure you check your blood sugar, you check your
Mm,
blood pressure, attend to any health issue that is coming up immediately.
mm,
Okay. But some people do not even come down with any illness, but they would
yeah.
definitely age. So
Yeah.
someone who is 50 today, the things
Mm,
you're doing now, you are unable to do when you get to 70 or 80.
yeah.
So you have to
Mm,
get prepared for old age. You have to get
okay.
prepared for it.
Mm. So would there be some way we can get access to, this is information that we have online. Is there some way we can get access to this kind of information? I mean, the concrete stuff from you directly, from Mothingham directly, for instance. Do you have like courses? Do you have like these kind of programs? Because
Right.
like
So
you
if
just said, mm,
yeah, go on.
that we besides me, we have millions of others who are still in denial, and
Hmm.
I will not accept the fact that I'm getting older. I still feel the same inside. I know
Yeah, you
physically
still
I'm
feel
not as,
young, just like
yeah,
me.
you're
I feel
still,
young.
yeah, but is there something that you offer that you can say, okay, hey guys, this thing
Okay,
will
so we do
happen whether you like it
trainings.
or not.
We
Yeah.
Yeah, we do trainings to get people prepared that these are the kind of long-term illnesses that we have.
Yeah.
and some of us, like I said, some people will come down with it. So we
Mm.
do trainings for what to expect. We do
Yeah.
trainings on the for the carers, and then we do
Yeah.
trainings for the families as well.
Mm.
You know
Mm.
how to cope when, for example, a spouse.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's even children. When children come down with
Mm.
illnesses that are
Mm.
life threatening, you understand?
Mm.
So yeah, we have trainings. We have trainings that we do. So feel free to call me. Feel free to send me WhatsApp message, and we are here.
Okay. So if you don't mind, you could also share your number, your contact information right here, because we will be pushing this content out repeatedly so that people that are not able to join us live right now will be able to see it much later. So go ahead, Eda, let us know how we can find you, where we can find you.
Yeah. I am here in Lagos, Nigeria, and my
Mm,
number is
mm,
+234 eight
mm.
zero eight 412 8988. I'll take that again. Plus
Okay.
234 808 412 8988.
And you have an email address people can reach you?
Oh,
You can
yes, we
go
have
ahead.
an email
Yeah.
address. The company's email address is mothinghamventures@gmail.com, or my direct email is eda@yahoo.com.
Mm. So who are the,
Mothinghamventures at
yeah.
gmail.com,
dot
or my
Mm,
personal email, eda@yahoo.com.
mm. So, who are the agencies that you work with generally? I mean, in terms of healthcare issues, like the hospitals, what other agencies do you work with to make it a rounded, sort of like a protection for the elderly when you're doing your work? Who else do
All
you
right,
work
so we
with?
have we have loads and lots of agencies right in
Mm,
Lagos and some
mm,
outside Lagos. The
yeah.
Rock Garden Agency for the elderly is there.
What do they do?
Blue Gate,
Okay.
the same thing we do,
Okay.
the same
Okay.
thing we
Yeah.
do.
Mm,
Blue Gate Agency is there, as well as the
mm,
Diocese of Lagos Rock Apartments for the elderly.
mm, What about the
If you Google
hospitals?
some
What
of this,
about
if you Google, yeah, we work with the hospitals. We work with the
yeah.
hospitals because, for example, if you have a client who has a stroke and the
Mm,
hospital has done their part, they want a rehabilitation center where they think
yeah.
they will benefit
Mm,
more from aggressive physiotherapy. And then we have our
yeah.
flyers there. They refer them to us. Yeah.
Mm, okay. Um, the other issue that that was brought up during this whole situation after we had that interview was also the question of trust. Who can the elderly actually trust to take care of them?
Yeah. Again, the elderlies, they can trust the professionals. The professionals. Emphasis on the professionals. All right. Some people, because of the finances involved, they will like, oh, don't worry, I can get a house help to help,
Mm,
or I can get an ordinary person that I can pay so amount to, which is cheaper. But the truth of the matter is, they are what you call the house helps. They are there to help
mm,
in the home.
yeah.
They are
Yeah.
not trained professionals. Some of these house helps, they are, I mean, dementia, for example, is strange to them. They think it's
Mm,
madness. They
yeah.
actually think that someone who wheezes on themselves is actually
Yeah.
crazy. Like, how can you be this
Mm,
old and you wee on yourself?
mm,
But as a professional will understand that this is why this person is behaving the way he's behaving because of the
mm,
health issue. So
yeah.
it is always best to patronize the professionals. Don't just
Mm,
bring in anybody because the care
mm,
itself is not easy. It is very difficult. But a
yeah.
professional would have gone through the training, a professional would have known what to expect. So when they exhibit some of these behaviors, we are able to curtail them.
Mm. When is it too early or when is it too late? When is the right time to to I would use the word commit or send someone to into the hands of Mothingham, for instance?
Okay, so we provide care and support from for anyone basically. Old age,
Mm,
some people would say is 60 and above. The
yeah.
moment you realize that, first of all, mom or dad cannot be left home by themselves,
Mm,
especially if they have health issues, especially if they have health issues. Some of these
mm,
health issues, high blood pressure, diabetes, stroke. dementia,
mm,
cancer, mental health, things that, some people will just wake up in the middle of the night and wander out of the house,
mm,
especially if they need that support. The moment
mm,
you know that they need them, please reach out to us. Let us
mm.
know. We come in and do an assessment, and then
Yeah.
we know the level of care that
Mm,
client will be needing. And then we'll
mm,
let you know, oh, this is what it will cost you. And
yeah.
then there's always a way around. There's always a
Mm,
way around. Don't leave
mm,
them unattended. Don't leave
yeah.
them alone in the house. Anything
Mm,
can happen. Even with their medication alone, don't leave them at home with their medication.
mm,
They can take an overdose. They can
mm.
even forget to even take the medication, which can
Meditation, you're right.
trigger a whole lot of stuff. So don't leave
Mm,
them. Yeah. It's
mm,
always best to use the
let,
professionals.
yeah. So, what makes Mothingham? I mean, these are just off the cuff questions. What makes Mothingham? What makes your agency different from everybody else?
Okay. Mottingham is passionate about what we do.
Okay.
Mottingham is I have a, I mean we have a website where we actually get um reports from people who have worked with us, how they refer us, especially the ones in diaspora.
Yeah.
Most times people always think it's the people in diaspora that would patronize us the more. Guess what? 80% of our clients are actually from Nigeria here, because the children are not always around. They trust us because they know we are passionate about what we do. They trust
Mm,
us because they know that we use experienced care workers
yeah.
and people who actually take their parents as if they are their own parents.
Yeah.
All right? Yeah.
Mm,
So that
okay.
makes us
So,
stand out.
yeah, like we had discussed before, it is oftentimes that you have to put the word out for people to come and be part of the services that you provide. So, just as a reminder, what kind of services do you actually provide? What do you offer besides
Home
just
care.
the physical? Yeah, home care.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we provide the home care and we also have
Mm,
the nursing home. So the home
okay.
care, like I said, where we provide the care in the comfort of the
Mm,
client's home.
yeah.
All right.
Mm,
And then the
yeah.
nursing care, where you need to bring them to live in the home, in the nursing home with us. All right.
Mm,
And then we also have the activity center. So
okay.
some people would think, oh, yes, I agree that I'm not always at home to care for my mom. So we have an activity center where, just like you're taking your child to a daycare, you come and
Yeah.
pick them or you bring them to the activity center, they
Mm,
engage them, and then they have some activities for them. They have some pampering, they watch
mm,
movies, they do karaoke, they do massage for them, they take a nap, and then when it's time to go home, they go home.
mm,
And
yeah.
sometimes we also take them to a park. There's a park in Alausa in
Mm,
Ikeja
yeah.
where we go and celebrate their birthdays if they want. The families come and join us there, and we just
Mm,
have a good time together.
How do the elderly people actually feel? That's an issue that bothers me quite a bit. I'll do a bit of a comparison. Okay, you have children on their first day,
Yeah.
like you take them to the daycare. They will cry. They'll bawl their eyes out. A day, 2 days, they're crying. How do the elderly often respond? Maybe on their first day, their second day, 1 week. What's the reception
It's
like? How do they?
natural. It's
Mm,
natural. It's
mm,
natural for you to be living in the comfort of your home,
yeah.
and then boom, the decision for you to move into a nursing home. There's a
Yeah.
tendency for them to feel very sad. And
Mm,
so when that happens, we make sure that we let them come in seamlessly. Okay.
okay.
So sometimes we first of all, the children will come with them, settle them in. If possible, they
Yeah.
want to stay with them, they stay with them because the rooms are all en suite, and then they stay
Mm,
with them, allow and help us, the carers as well, to let
yeah.
them settle in seamlessly, gain our trust,
Yeah.
and then we leave.
Okay.
Sometimes some parents can be really, 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 really angry with the children. No, I cannot stay in this place and all that.
Mm,
And you find them like, no, no, no. And then they just distract them and then they leave. And then we
okay.
have to now make sure they settle
That
in.
they're comfortable.
Make sure they
S-
settle in.
Mm,
So when they react, I always tell my carers, it's natural, it's okay. Let them
mm,
react with time. With
mm,
time, they get to know you, they get to trust you, and then they
yeah.
will they will, they will just,
You will
you
settle
know,
in.
settle in.
Mm,
They will settle in.
okay. So, as a last word, what would you what more would you want to say about not just elderly care, but also about Mothingham? Because at the end of the day, a lot of it has to do with your own personal touch, your own personal application, as not just as a person, as a carer, but also the people that you work with. What more can you say about Mothingham and why it is very important for the work that you do to be seen outside and for folks to bring their elderly to your care?
Well, what I can say is that people need help.
Yeah.
I have to let this out. People need
Mhm,
help, and
mhm.
as such, we are telling them to reach out to us. Come on, we
Yeah.
will help. We will help,
Mm,
especially those in diaspora. You find some people complaining, oh, my mom has a day carer, so she comes in the morning and leaves in the
yeah.
evening. So what happens
Mm,
in the evening when she needs to go to bed all through the night? Nobody is with her.
mm,
I'm always against that. They need
yeah.
24/7 care. Okay, so
Mm,
reach out to us. We are always open, and yeah, people need help. And I know sometimes
yeah.
it's the financial aspects that people look at.
Especially that.
Nothing is
Yes.
impossible. Yeah.
Mm,
So, like I
mm,
said, I can never stop comparing the civilized countries to the developing
mm,
countries like Nigeria.
yeah.
They get support from the government. We don't get that kind of support like that.
Mm,
Sometimes the government should be able to say, okay, we'll pay 50%, you pay 50%. I am telling
mm,
you, if they come up with policies like that, you will be surprised the number of people that really need this help. Okay.
mm, mm.
So feel free to call us, and we
Okay.
will try our best and see what we can do.
Okay. So if you're just joining us right now, if you have not followed extensively, what we are talking about is the burden of elderly care in Africa. Who can they trust to care for them when they need us the most? And I have had AITALEGBE, who runs her own agency in Lagos, Nigeria, and she has confirmed here and now that you definitely need to trust a professional, not just any professional, but those who have been actually certified to take care of your elderly and give them the best care possible within the period of time that they're still with us. You want the best for them while they're still here. I've often heard a lot of people saying, oh, why don't you take care of me while I'm still here? Why don't you give me my flowers while I'm still around? So this is what it's all about. So on behalf of all of us who are still in denial, on behalf of all of us who know what's best and wants the very best for those of the elderly that we do care for, I'd like to say a big thank you for being a part of today's interview and talking about this. And like I had said earlier to you, that we will continue to call on you when we need more information and continue to track and keep posting the stuff that you're posting so that the world sees the important work that you're doing for everybody concerned. So thank you very much, Eda.
Thank you, Ehi.
All right. So until next time then. Yep. And there you have it. A big thank you for being a part of today's show. I'm Ehian Akimia. And, during the rebroadcast, whatever comments that you want to make, and do get in touch with Eda. You can see her information scrolling across, and she runs Mothingham Support Workers in Lagos, Nigeria, and that's her phone number right there. Get in touch with her, get more information, and be part and be ready to let your elderly ones, the ones that you love the most, who have done so much for you, give them the very best of care while they're still around. And until next time, I'll see you guys. Bye.